are going to the World Championship. Alien Corey, take it away.
Thank you very much, Maria. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Lower Round 1. I'm Ailey Loney alongside Corey Baumeister, and we have the unfortunate task here of sending someone home after this matchup, but more importantly, we are sending someone else to the World Championship. So it is going to be David Inglis versus Shota Yasooka, Jeskai Storm versus Jund Midrange. Corey, now, Jund Midrange has been doing a little bit better than Jeskai Storm, so tell us a bit about this matchup as we get ready to check out these players in this elimination match.
Yeah, absolutely. Two really strong decks. You know, I still kind of like the Jeskai Dragon side. You know, I really like that over-the-top aspect where you can just combo off and win on the same turn. Jund, of course, has really good removal that we've seen for the Dragons. But you got to find him. You got to find one of those two Riveteer's Charms or something like that. And that's not an easy feat.
You say, yet it's in the opening hand here,
That's
Corey.
fair. That's fair.
It's easy when you're Shota Yasooka, am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, going to be a great match here, though, to send someone to the World Championship.
Oh, for sure. I absolutely love the spice that Shota has brought to the table this weekend. When in doubt, Jund him out. So let's get things underway here as we take a look at the opening hands. Not too shabby from both players. Just a bit of thinks here for David Inglis. What doesn't he like about this hand?
Yeah, it is a mulligan to 6 already, and it just doesn't really do anything that proactive. But of course, Expressive Iteration is great at finding you other answers. But, you know, like I was kind of talking about how Expressive Iteration, of course, you're going to play 4 of them. In any Is-It strategy, it's not as amazing in this deck because, you know, you do really want to cast something on turn 2 because there's not a lot of turn 2 drops, but there's a decent amount of 3 drops from this Jeskai Storm deck. So, yeah, exactly. You see Expressive Iteration just get fired off right now to just get some value out of it.
I mean, you saw a bit of a grimace there from David Inglis, but to be fair, that's 3 lands you're not drawing next turn, so that's kind of okay.
Yeah, still not bad. And, you know, David is usually trying to line up this go-to plan of going turn 4 big score into Goldspan Dragon. And that ends up just being something where you can just win the game on the spot with that kind of play. So this hand does meet the criteria of at least starting it off that way of being able to play big score next turn.
So we start things off here with Black Market Tycoon. Gala Greeter is going to hang out in hand there. And just a reminder to everyone, Shota Yasooka and David Inglis are both qualified for the World Championship. So the outsiders looking in, they are waiting with bated breath to see what happens here in this matchup to determine who is going to take that slot. Expressive Iteration number 2 yields a bit more action here for David Inglis, as it is Ottawa Soaring City as the land for turn.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do remember both of these players already are locked for that World Championship seat, but it does affect other seats depending on what happens here.
For sure. Jacob Toth hanging out in the wings, waiting to see what happens. Austin Bursevich behind him as well. So all that's going to shake out this weekend, determine who is the final 2 in our World Championship slots. But for now, we have to determine who is continuing on here and whose weekend comes to an end between Shota Yasooka and David Inglis. And as Maria said, you know, this seems like David Inglis' tournament. For the first 2 days, he was in cruise control, basically. Just absolutely excellent results, just running over everyone with this Jeskai deck. But this Jund deck has been its downfall for the most part. It's had an excellent win rate against it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing is, you know, we say it's David's tournament as well. Shota is also just dominating. These are just 2 runaway trains kind of heading at each other. They're both just having such a great tournament. It just so happens that they had that first elimination. Remember, this is that double elimination, which means they just do not have any more wiggle room. So this is it. You know, we've been talking all about qualifications and advancing. But this one, the main focus is eliminating, where one of these players will be eliminated.
Definitely. 2 big scores in hand here for David Inglis. There is also the Goldspan Dragon. Would love to find some goodies to start chucking on top of this Goldspan Dragon and get that combo going. Hopefully find a Lear for himself too. So nothing happening in that turn for David Inglis. As we're going to see some treasures made and Black Market Tycoon doing what he does best and dinging his controller for 2.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, I would argue that making the treasure is what it does best. But you know what? Yeah, I agree. That's got to be at least second best there.
Is that what we call blood money, considering he's just like whacking you in the face there?
That's a
Every time you make
pretty
a treasure?
good comparison. Yeah, I think you nailed it there.
Ooh, hello. Alrighty. So Meathook Massacre, we've been talking about this card all weekend, and probably a contender as well for best card in Standard, alongside Fable of the Mirror Breaker, and everything else that's just absolutely, but I don't say broken, just really good in Standard
Really
right now.
good.
Ooh,
Yeah, absolutely.
Ooh, get it,
And
get it.
as you talk about Meathook Massacre being one of the better cards, you see Ray of Enfeeblement, which is for sure, without a doubt, the worst card in this matchup. It is something we'll see Shota immediately taking out in the post-board games.
For sure. That one treasure would allow the Ginny Fade to be paid for if the Jawari Disruption was fired off. So big score is going to be the play here for David Inglis after taking 2 from this little Goblin Shaman.
Yeah, and a really, really nice play here, what Shota is setting up with those 2 treasures and a 3rd treasure being threatened here with Black Market Tycoon. That just eliminates the possibility that David could go Goldspan Dragon without anything else, right? Like, you can't just go Goldspan Dragon and hope to be able to attack. But with Big Score helping out here, discarding, basically anything that isn't Big Score, Goldspan Dragon, or Jawari Disruption or Land 5, which I guess means you have to discard March here. But if you do that, then all of a sudden next turn you have it pretty much locked up where you can play Goldspan Dragon and then have Jawari Disruption with one of those treasures hanging around to counter Riveteer's Charm, and then you can actually go off. So David is set up where if the top of the deck is friendly to him, could just win next turn with, if you find like Show of Confidence, or could at least set up that scenario that we've seen so many times, Ailey, where you just amass this battlefield that you just can't lose instead of winning. That's a good start.
And there's the Lear
That's a
as
good
well. So excellent draws here for David Inglis. He's going to rock out the Goldspan Dragon pretty confidently. You mentioned that there are 3 treasures available, courtesy of the Black Market Tycoon. So I don't know. We might see the Riveteer's Charm using the sacrifice effect, but I mean, you gotta go for it. Shota's gonna be a little disappointed though.
We'll see it go on the stack. That's almost assuredly going to happen. But outside of that, I think this is a perfect Jawari Disruption target.
Oh, for sure. So first we're gonna big score though, because that is in essence free. So let's just do what we can while we can, and then we'll deal with that Riveteer's Charm on the stack.
And now we're already lining up this scenario for David, like even with some bad draws, which, yeah, we did just see some not so great draws. You can kind of try to set up a turn where you can at least have Lear, maybe a couple double Fading Hopes to prevent it. We'll just see if we have enough mana. And I guess this is only 4 here, so it looks like the only thing available is just Otawara or Fading Hope to protect Goldspan Dragon. So while that charm didn't do exactly what Shota would hope it would do, is just deal with Goldspan Dragon, it did enough to prevent Lear from being able to be played, and then you could string together some 1-mana spells to be able to just really go off with Goldspan Dragon.
And this weekend we've seen Shota prioritize just slowing down this deck from doing its thing. You know, we've seen him attack the graveyards in previous matchups, I think against David Inglis as well, just making sure that there's nothing there for Lear to get a hold of. And, just having a dragon on the board is not going to be enough for this deck. So he's been playing this matchup very well, as you would expect someone of his caliber to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And look at this sweet combo here with Black Market Tycoon, Genie Fae, Gala Greeters. You get to just turn that sideways, and instead of like just make a treasure, which you would normally do, you get to instead put 5 power on the battlefield by just tapping Black Market Tycoon. But that being said, David Inglis does not care about any of this and is like, yep, you can put me down to essentially 1. I don't really care, because next turn, starting the turn with Lear, there was at least 1 big score in the graveyard, maybe even 2, and it's time to get busy. Oh yeah, that is it's going to be tough to not win the game here from David's side. You got to get a little unlucky with how many draws David is going to have available here.
Oh man, I just want to see a big fat Goldspan Dragon, please, David.
I know. Let's get a very
dead if you
confident
don't
Goldspan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just like looking at the board size on the other side of the battlefield. I'm pretty sure he's dead if he doesn't kill Shota right now.
I think we've said that before, Ailey, and then we just look after David does, 27 game actions, and all of a sudden just Fading Hope like 4 creatures, you Otawara another creature, you do a couple Voltage Surge on another one, and all of a sudden you say go, and Shota is down to like just Genie Fae or something. I don't think that's crazy and out of the realm of what we could see at the end of this turn.
Yeah. Yeah, we saw a turn like that yesterday as well, where he just went through his attack phase, second main, and he just went off. He found every piece of removal that he could possibly need to absolutely obliterate this board state. So here comes Lear, Disciple of Drowned, good buddies with Goldspan. Let's see what these two can get up to. Start counting.
And now it'll be interesting. We've seen David and teammates just wait to do this only post-combat. But yeah, I'm totally with this. Doing this during your turn, because if you find Show Confidence, it's just game, because you get to cast these cards from your graveyard, and then you get to Show a Confidence twice.
Oh, you get to Expressive Iteration here into a big score. That will be a good way to dig deeper, get some more treasures.
Yeah, almost assuredly seeing Galvanic into big score. It's going to be huge. The auto tapper kind of got you there. Yeah, David shakes his head. It's like, come on, I did not mean to do that. Yeah.
You cheeky little bleep. I'm not allowed to swear. This is a family show.
There
Here comes
you go.
big
Good
score
call on
number.
that.
I don't know how. This is 4 now in this game?
4 in the game so far. And it'll more than likely not be the last of this game. We see that response from Shota. The only thing that's available is the one Ray. But yeah, right there.
Anything.
That was basically bricks.
What kind of a what? No.
That was
awful. But you know
awful.
what the fun you know what the fun thing is?
Huh.
That March of Swirling Mist can make many things go bye-bye. So that's one way to make a battlefield go away.
Exactly. So we'll see if David wants to just take the conservative route of just say go and march the battlefield, and then you risk maybe losing your creatures to a Meat Hook Massacre or something.
Oof.
Like,
Yeah,
that's
that would be
one thing
brutal.
that's pretty risky. Or you Expressive Iteration to find more big scores and to find a Show of Confidence to then make sure you have enough. That fits the criteria of Unexpected Windfall here being a big score as well.
Yeah, Galvanic Iteration can blow up some stuff alongside the Voltage Surge. But first things first, let's do some windfalls. Whee!
Yeah, and here is, another 8 treasures here, or another 4 treasures, excuse me, and then that is the 8 mana. Another Unexpected Windfall will be free to be able to do it again, and then you have Unexpected Windfall to go to the graveyard, so you're going to see at least 2 more Unexpected Windfalls.
At this point, they're the expected windfalls, right? It's
Yes,
like, oh,
touche.
look at this. Look at this.
Touche. Expected
I did not
Windfall
expect
going
it.
on the
Yes,
stack.
you did. No surprise about them, but yeah, just ripping through the hand here, getting all the junk out that you don't need. Unexpected Windfall doing what it does best. Show of Confidence. Hey, where were you a couple turns ago?
Was Rich whispering in your ear that was Expected Windfall? That seems like a Rich Hagen joke for sure.
No, that was all me this time around.
Nice. Yeah, and here's
I've learned from the best, though.
Here is the Show of Confidence to just allow infinite mana here. Of course, that is, not 100% true. It's not going to be infinite, but once you cast it once, this is probably about 6 spells. That's going to be 6 treasures for the price of 2, and then you can bring it back from your graveyard, which will be 7. It'll add 1. So add, just the loose math, that's about, 13, 14 treasures. And then you should be able to find a way to be able to just start clearing off creatures. You get to Fading Hope some cats. You get to Voltage Surge some 2/2s. Spikefield Hazards some X1s. And be able to just make sure you're not going to die. Now Meat Hook Massacre can't kill this Goldspan Dragon. So pretty much all wrapped up here.
Not in a million years. See, we could have done this in the first main phase, Corey. Okay, maybe we needed the treasure off the dragon, but still,
we did,
look how big he is.
I don't think me and you together in the booth have seen Goldspan Dragon actually attack for lethal on this combo turn. It's always been that follow-up turn, which is kind of wild.
It's not exactly the similar deck where we saw the Naya big double punch thing, pick him up and fling it. I can't remember what the cards were called there, but that was a deck.
Unleash Fury, right? Unleash Fury with Showdown and stuff.
Fury ones.
Yeah.
So this is a far more tame Goldspan Dragon list where it's more just like, nah, I'll just kill my opponent's creatures instead of their controller.
If you're calling this tame, I don't know if I can agree with you on that one. This is not the most tame term that I've seen in Standard, that's for sure.
Oh, goodness. Alrighty, so now that we've done that, I hope someone was counting how many game actions there were there. But we're going to see March of Swirling Mist, so how many? 10? 10?
Why not?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, yeah, make your stuff go away too. Sure, why not? Jeez, Louise.
Yeah, really versatile card that, we're even seeing in Jan Merkel's deck, taking advantage of this and really smart stuff, swirling out Goldspan Dragons just in case there is a post-combat Meat Hook Massacre. At best, with Black Market Tycoon, you could get up to X equals 4. But, X equals 4 is a thing, so.
This is unbelievable. And not exiling Lear, just to be able to keep that graveyard handy dandy, a second hand, if you will, of, I don't know, a bajillion cards at this rate. So let's see what Shota does in response here.
Yeah, and you would think maybe, creating enough treasures to go Meat Hook Massacre for 4 would kill Lear, and you'd be like, David, why would you put your Lear at risk? There's still show of confidence in the graveyard that you can just do on your own Lear to protect it as well. So really all the avenues locked up here.
Yep, I like the response here, just copying a couple tokens so that not everything goes away. Goblin Shaman will get to attack here. There is Lear still in the way, though, to do some blocking duty, but did get the treasure off of it. And he's going to be happy enough with that, but not so happy about everything else that's happening.
Yeah, that is a lot of things happening, and whenever you are the Jeskai Storm deck and you see this hand where, half of your hand is in a different shade and half is your normal hand, the things are going pretty well. So that means you have a nice, effective Lear.
Oh, yes. And as you mentioned, Show of Confidence will prevent Meat Hook Massacre from taking care of the Lear on the battlefield. Gets it out of range.
All right,
but it's not going to stop this train.
Yeah, absolutely. And as far as the matchup goes here, this is definitely the game that heavily favors Tangrams because, you do have this really over the top, creature sweep that just is really tough to deal with. Post-board, it's a little different. Shota gets to bring in a lot more focus cards. You get to bring in Duress. You get to get Ray of Enfeeblement out of your deck. Even Unleash Fury, maybe Binding the Old Gods. Just all cards that effectively deal with these 5-drops. And if you can effectively deal with Big Score and Unexpected Windfall with Duress, and deal with the 5-drops with removal spells, well, that's the whole deck. David cannot win without those key elements. So one of those has to stick if David wants to win this.
Yep, and let's see what the sideboarding decision is here for David. He's going to bring in a copy of Spell Pierce and Negate, as well as a Cinderclasm, which will be super handy against all the tokens that Shota is making in his deck. 1 Fable of the Mirror Breaker, 1 Galvanic Iteration, and 1 March of Swirling Mist is going to come out. Now, that's the single copy in the main deck, I believe.
Yes, I believe you're right as well. And we might see something really cool with Cinderclasm, something that we saw with these other Izzet decks in the past up against Azika's Chariot decks, is if you can assemble 5 mana, let's say, you get to go Galvanic Iteration plus Cinderclasm and instant speed sweep the board, which is a really, really cool combination.
Yeah, it's basically build your own burn down the house, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Instant speed, though, which can be devastating for Azika's Chariot decks for sure.
I mean, we've seen instant speed 36 damage to your face. What do you mean?
That's a good point.
Tournament this weekend with Calamity.
Oh wow, how cool is that deck? That is one I'm going to be queuing up on the ladder after this. That's a fun one for sure.
Do it. I'd love to see it. So Shota, again, super fast. He's sideboarded. He's ready to rock and roll. Something he's thinking about.
Probably is already
number 2.
Shota's already 5 turns into the game. Be like, okay, I have to make sure when David does this that I have to make sure to look out for this. Shota is just always so many steps ahead at all times. really just such a phenomenal player to watch and an inspiration to, especially control mages. You know, that is usually Shota's main style of decks, but you know what? We'll play anything as we have seen from these last few years of these digital events where maybe control wasn't as good. Shota definitely pivoted to just play the good decks to make sure, well, you still win events.
And that's the mark of a great Magic player, you know, the all-time greats. They can pick up any deck and win with it. Just give them a couple minutes to learn it, and they're good to go.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think one really cool thing about Shota doesn't actually test that much, but just really in theory theorizes what cards would be good and then just kind of shows up, you know, which is really something I can't do. Absolutely not. I need to see all the interactions, and I need to make sure I know how my deck works by playing it.
So David Inglis rightly leaving up 2 mana there to be able to deal with a turn 3 Kitty Car, which Black Market Tycoon, along with an untapped land, would have enabled. But Shota, just content to get Den of the Bugbear down, is unfortunately going to lose the Black Market Tycoon. But David won't be too sad about that.
Yeah, and Shota was playing around Jwari Disruption for that play. Getting your 4 mana very powerful spell negated is one thing, but to get a Jwari Disruption is an ultimate feel bad. And speaking of feels bad, Expressive Iteration bricking on the land is a true feels bad.
Yeah, it's not great, obviously. So big score is going to go to hand. The dragon goes back in the deck, and Expressive Iteration number 2 is going to go into the abyss, never to be seen again. And here is one of the spicy meatballs off the sideboard in Unleash the Inferno, or Super Saiyan Coligan's Command, whatever it's been dubbed at this point, which has been very good in this matchup.
And here's one of the big problems for David by, you know, maybe not necessarily having to play Expressive Iteration on 2 there, and maybe had the opportunity to leave open a negate, decides not to do it, and now Chariot hits the battlefield, which is going to put David a little behind. So, you know, felt the pressure to find another red source for Unexpected Windfall or find some other gas, and decided to cast Expressive Iteration, but it didn't necessarily work out for David too well.
It didn't, unfortunately, but thankfully Big Score is the easier on the mana base Unexpected Windfall, so he has that as an option. I don't think he'd be able to find... Well, I mean, he could find an answer for the Chariot here if he fires off this Big Score and hopes like heck he can find the 1 mana removal spells.
Yeah, absolutely, and why not go for it now? You know there's no counter spells on the other side, so maybe you find a Voltage Surge and you can get rid of both treasures to do that. Shota is really okay with that if that is what David decides to do. But hey, there it is. That's an option.
Hey-o.
We'll see if David even wants to go for it. Like, even knowing Shota, like if David had perfect information that there is not a Chariot in Shota's hand, maybe you almost snap it off. But if you have any indication that there's another Chariot, it's actively not that great to be playing this anyways.
Yeah, but still, you know, like the cat problem, you need to keep the population under control. Hopefully find a Cinderclasm very, very soon. Otherwise, you are in danger.
Yeah, Cinderclasm would be great. Or just get the ball rolling with the combo. You know, we saw this kind of exact battlefield last game. And, you know, game in, you know, time and time again earlier throughout the tournament is these Jeskai Storm decks can beat giant battlefields. You know, they just have to do their own things, and usually it begins with Goldspan Dragon. Lear alone is usually not enough to come back from this. You need that over-the-top aspect.
So, on that previous Expressive Iteration, he kept the Big Score over a dragon. That went back into the library.
Yep.
So now, unfortunately, he doesn't have that option available to him.
Yeah, and it makes sense because if you didn't take the Big Score there, Unexpected Windfall was not castable. So on turn 4, David would have just did nothing, valued actually doing something on turn 4 instead of hoping to top deck a red source for Goldspan Dragon. It's just really simply, this card I can cast, the other card I cannot. And, you know, of course there's going to be draws that will make that decision a little more awkward. You know, if you immediately top deck some red sources, maybe you would rather, not even maybe, for sure you would rather have the Goldspan Dragon, since you already have Unexpected Windfall, but impossible to know that.
Yeah. And the advantageous situation that Shota finds himself in, he really doesn't have to commit anything else to the battlefield here. So David's just looking at this like, okay, do I give up negate? What's going to happen here? Because we can just turn dudes sideways, pick up that Den of the Bugbear, and go. Unexpected windfall, not great. There's another layer, also not great. Where are the mountains? What is going on? Is what David Inglis is probably thinking right now.
Yeah, nothing has gone David's way in this game. Every minor decision has been immediately punished with something from Shota, and every time David needs to find a red source, it hasn't been there. So really some unlucky stuff here from David.
Yeah, so Spell Pierce is going to take care of Fable of the Mirror Breaker. At least attempt to, but Shota has the mana to pay, so we now have a bunch of dudes on the battlefield, and that is a lot of damage coming through. Treasures being copied to keep up that Infernal Grasp, so things are looking very good here for the Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I think we'll be clicking that top right corner here pretty soon from David. This is a tricky one to get out of. David, actually, you know, if we had Goldspan Dragon, there's the Infernal Grasp to interact with it, but David did have the answer to that with Negate, and then you're able to do some shenanigans with Show of Confidence where, you know, the rest of the stuff was kind of wrapped up. Just didn't have the Goldspan Dragon, I guess, or the red source. It's still a ways away, but...
Yeah, no red source, no treasure, no ability to get down the Goldspan Dragon and go absolutely ham like you'd like to.
Yeah, the classic, if these cards were other cards, it would be a better situation for David line
for
there.
Sure.
You know, really helpful commentary from me there.
Well, I mean, yes, if you want to win games of Magic, you just have to draw what you need, right?
Exactly. That's all I was trying to get across, so I'm glad you saw that.
Alrighty, big swing time. Let's get this game over and done with. David knows that he is uber dead. And we're going to go to game number 3 here between these two players fighting for their lives in this tournament. If you are joining us, it is day 3. We are in the top 8. No one has been eliminated yet, but one of these two players will play their last game after this.
Yeah, absolutely. Winner goes on to continue battling to try to eventually get to the proclaimed end boss here, as Marshall and Paul would put it, in Jan Merkel playing that really interesting Jeskai Hinata list. And the loser will unfortunately have their tournament end here. But no matter what, just a great event for both players. They accomplished so much, and we'll be seeing them plenty more in the years to come for sure.
Oh, and more importantly, at the World Championship at the end of the year. So, you know, it's a pretty good consolation prize for whomever does leave us after this.
Exactly. And Pro Tour 1. You know, that invite, getting that 9 wins locks them in for that.
Hell
so,
yeah.
you know, qualifying, you know, 2 more huge events and 2 really cool events. That is, you know, just every Magic player's dream to just be a part of all of them. You know, that's the goal. Just play in all the really high level events.
Pro Tour's back, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait, it's going to be awesome. Such a rush playing high-stakes Magic against the best players in the world, and I'm pretty sure it's no different for these players this weekend.
Yeah.
You can see how much it means to them when they pick up these wins. Well, for those who aren't, you know, poker face the entire time. But even then, we get the slight smile or the, yeah, I did pretty good there.
Exactly. Might not see it on either of their faces when they take down this W, but you know they're happy inside because, well, this is why you play the game, to be in these kind of spots.
Definitely so.
Great hand.
Opening hand time. Let's see. All right. No green here for Shota.
Yeah, not so great for Shota. I was like, if that is 2 lands and you can cast your 2-drop, it's great. But yeah, decides to take it back, and I think you have to keep that one, but that one is not so strong either from Shota's side, but just an excellent hand from David's side.
Yeah, David was pretty pleased with that. He looked at it for a second, but then was like, yeah, cool, I can work with this. 3 lands, essentially, with a Spikefield Cave on the other side of Hazard into an Expressive Iteration. You have your Dragon, you have your Leer. You are very happy. Turn 4, big score. What more could you want?
Exactly. The only thing more that David wants is that Expressive Iteration to play nice. You know, to not give you those kind of awkward draws that we've seen from David so far this match. And, you know, at times, other Jeskai Storm players. Expressive Iteration, well, there's one way to only get 1 card. Just cast it on 2.
Yeah, it's like, all right, I'm not going to give you the chance to be mean to me, Expressive Iteration. But another big score found. Voltage Surge, though, is going to go to hand. Big score back in the library, as we expect to see, because that card, once you have the combo going, is pivotal.
Absolutely, and some big draw steps there from Shota, getting Azika's Chariot as well as the very powerful Workshop War Chief into hand. Those are the clocks. You got some disruption. Now you just gotta make sure you got the time to do it, and Shota would be okay in this game. Ooh,
Oh, lovely draw there. Fable the Mirror Breaker. Yes, please.
Now it's going to be the interesting scenario. We've seen Shota play around Jwari Disruption a ton in the past. Do you do it again here, or do you really try to just look at this game like, you know what, I'm on the draw, I'm too far behind, I have to just play my cards? It's looking like Shota's leaning on playing around Jwari. This time, though, last time Shota played around it, pretty correctly. This time, it wouldn't be correct, in hindsight, to play around it since it's not there in David's hand.
Oh man, it's such a risk. How important is this card for his game plan? Does he want to just hold up the Zeator's Proving Grounds? No, he makes the right call.
Honestly,
so
just
resolves.
A pro move there. Just recognize. Honestly, it was risk to reward. Deciding on this one just because Shota's on the draw. We know Shota knows that these Jeskai Storm decks are very good at going 4-mana spell, big score, unexpected windfall into Goldspan, and you don't have much time. You've got to get a clock down so that you can leave up mana for disruption. Because if you just leave up mana as the Jund midrange deck without a clock, you're not going to win. Eventually, this Jeskai Storm deck will find card draw. It'll out-card advantage you, and it'll find a certain scenario where you can go Goldspan Dragon backed up with Negate, and then, it doesn't matter that you held up mana.
It's almost as if it gets to a certain point, this much mana down on the battlefield, okay, your chance to win is now closer and closer to zero with every passing second. So let's see what the play follow-up here is going to be, if we'll see an Yasooka's Chariot or if we'll see one of these big old Workshop War Chiefs.
And no matter what we see, David is going to be thrilled because you have this combo already ready to go. Big score and Goldspan Dragon. So, if you can just go big score, find basically anything, then go land 5 Goldspan Dragon attack, then you have 6 mana to play with, and you really just don't need that much when you have a Leer. Like 1 Spikefield Hazard, and you're up to 2 mana with a Leer in play. You can pretty likely get up to 4 mana and just start chaining off these big scores and unexpected windfalls.
So here's an interesting point for David Inglis. You could see him consider trying to find a counterspell there. But I think at this point, Corey, like you mentioned, he has the combo in hand. He can just start going absolutely crazy at this point and not be dead to an attack next turn. So I like the, all right, sure, you can have it. Watch this.
Yeah, and I think he was also playing around duress there, where like if he big scored and went to try to find an answer to Azika's Chariot, and then you just get duressed, and all of a sudden you only have 1 other big spell, it feels a little bit worse, and you'd be giving your opponent a little less information if you wait on this.
Yeah.
Oh, that's huge. That's huge.
Wow, what a draw there. Unexpected windfall and big score. Dragon's gonna come on down. We're gonna see Leer. Unfortunately, not in hand right now. What cheap interaction does he have to make some more treasures in the bin? We're gonna just go windfall until we find more stuff, right?
Yeah, that's what I would think. I think you start in combat by getting this treasure, cast these windfalls and big scores, and go from there. But it looks like David's considering not doing that. Because here is the scenario where it is almost impossible for David to actually win in this combat because Leer is not in play. If you find 1 show of confidence, it's pretty hard to cast 16 spells. So it is very, very, very unlikely that David is going to win this very turn. It's just how do you maximize this Leer, set up a defensive battlefield and win the following turn.
Yeah. All right, so let's do the next unexpected windfall. Ditch the second land. Let's keep digging for some spells. A Voltage Surge to clear off either Yasooka's Chariot or one of the creatures on the battlefield. It's a Galvanic Iteration, so that'll be a pretty nice way to clear off a couple tokens if that's the way he wants to go.
So by my calculations here, with only having Voltage Surge and you're limited to how many times you can target your Goldspan Dragon, and you're limited to 1. Otherwise, you're going to kill your own Goldspan Dragon. That it's a little tricky to really kind of storm off here. It's not impossible because you get to go, you know, Leer, and then with that extra mana, Voltage Surge on Goldspan Dragon, you get 2 mana, and then you could aim both Voltage Surges at Goldspan Dragon, and then it's very dead on the stack, but it does generate 4 mana, where then you can start casting Unexpected Windfalls and big scores again. And then if you find Show of Confidence or the March of Swirling Mist, then you can phase it out before those Voltage Surge will actually deal with it. But if you don't find those, it's kind of risky, you know?
I don't know if he brought the March back in, but if he did have that, that would be a pretty cool way to go about it. But first things first, we're going to get Leer, Disciple of the Drowned, out. There is the 1 red mana available, which, as you mentioned, could bonk the poor dragon. Now, please don't kill the dragon. The dragon's a good boy, okay? He's just doing his job. He's your hardest worker. Look at the profits he's gaining you. Come on.
Exactly, exactly. And now you're going to see, okay, so this is the line that David wants to go to. We're going to see both these Voltage Surge aimed at Goldspan Dragon. They're both going to be on the stack. That's going to generate 4 mana, and away we go.
This poor dragon. I mean, that's one way to prevent Shota from killing it, right? You just kill it yourself.
Kill it yourself. Touche. Touche. And here we go. Now, this generates, you know, 6 more cards that David's going to see. And to try to find Show of Confidence, if it's still in the deck, we have seen, you know, some other players, maybe even David, that have taken out some Show of Confidences. I didn't necessarily see if they were taken out in this matchup, though.
I know he kept them in the second game, but I'm not too sure about the third. So let's see what the top of the deck yields here, as Galvanic Iteration is going to be the sacrificial spell for this big score.
Okay, yeah, and if it's still in, that's the card we're looking for.
Cinderclasm. Hey, that can kill some stuff.
Hey, you could finish off your Goldspan Dragon right now with it.
Yeah, sure. Oh, poor guy.
Okay, this is the last one. And there's the Show of Confidence.
There we go. Yeah. The fist bump from David. You didn't kill your dragon. You're a good dragon owner. Good job, sir.
That card is so fitting right now because that was the biggest Show of Confidence from David we've seen this entire match in his cam. And here is this kind of next level play that when I was practicing this deck, I just didn't realize you can do, is cast Show of Confidence, and as that storm trigger is on the stack, keep casting spells.
Yeah, because it just keeps going.
Yeah.
It's great. I mean, I'm not sure why it doesn't just say storm, but
yeah,
here we go. Oh my goodness, 21 triggers on the stack. Good luck keeping track of that in paper. Oy, 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 oy. There we go. Big chunky dragon, all safe. Much treasure, such wow. And we can just, you know, get some more dumb dragons down on the battlefield. Why not?
Would you like to sacrifice a artifact to deal 4? No, thank you. Okay.
No, thank you. We're good.
All right, here's double expressive iteration.
Oh, goodness me. Yeah, some more card draw. Give me that Behold the Multiverse. Get in there, man.
Oh, yeah. Always beholden. That's the lesson with this card. Yep. There's another big score.
Another big score. Jeez, like, this deck is so dumb.
Yeah, and then big score. That represents two big scores, you know, because one goes to the graveyard, and so we're going to be getting 2 free spells there, even beholds to find more copies. At this point, you're just going to keep going until David wants to stop, and David's going to stop when you can just deal with all creatures, and you can have some protection for your giant Goldspan Dragon.
Yeah.
We're also probably just going to see more Goldspan Dragons get cast.
Yeah, because why not? Is that a Spiteful Hazard? Sure, that can go to the bottom. 27 cards left in the deck. Would you like to see all of them? Because I'm pretty sure he could do that right now.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
One more time with feeling. Let's go!
Saying only one more time there is ambitious, but sure, we'll give that one to you.
Oh, goodness me. He still does have 7.5 minutes left on the clock. But unless Shota Yasooka has an answer for 3... Yes, 3 big dumb dragons. He's not going to be winning this one, unfortunately. So, as it stands right now, it does look like David Inglis is going to advance. But let's see what the Hall of Famer has on his draw step if David ever gives him a turn.
Yeah, and here we're going to see this. This is pretty nice. This is to play around Meathook Massacre for 4, which would actually be possible through a Jwari Disruption. Not only through Jwari Disruption because Shota could get up to 7 mana, but you know, also Lear prevents anything from being countered anyways. So now the plan is to just make some gigantic dragons and create so much mana.
Oh, this is so silly. Clickety, clickety, clickety. And people complain about Cat Oven. Are you watching this? Cat Oven is innocent and lovely.
Well, we, you know, normally we agree on a lot of things. Absolutely not. Give me this all day over Cat Oven. I love this combo. Look at that. That's 29 triggers right there.
What's that? How many treasures you get in here? Let's see.
Oh, 29.
I heard you liked
15,
mana.
14 treasures there just from that show of confidence. And don't forget, I don't think we're going to see it, but David could go show of confidence right now and then show of confidence again for, I mean, just an ungodly amount of treasures and counters.
Please, stop. Make it stop. Make it go away. Oh, sure, let's get all 4 down. Yeah. It's not double dragons, it's quadruple dragons. Oh my goodness, 6 minutes left on the clock, still not a concern. Shows is just happy to let him spin his wheels, find all his stuff. Are we gonna pass the turn?
Yeah, at this point, David's like, sure. I guess I'm done. I've almost used up the rope. Give it up.
Okay.
Pass the turn.
Yeah, danger, danger. Den of the Bugbear land for turn. Unfortunately, not what Shota wants to see. He can get down this Workshop War Chief and gain some life, but it is not going to be enough against 2 16 Goldspan dragons with their little idiot friends being a 5/5 and a 4/4. Yeah, I'd say this is a pretty convincing victory here for David Inglis, huh?
I like it from Shota, though. Never give up. Wait for David to attack.
Yeah, you never know what could happen. So, all the dragons going in. Death by Dragonstorm for sure, as all 4 gold spans are getting in there. They're going to make some more treasures. And I guess Shota just has to hope that David decides to draw his deck out and die. You know?
Exactly. I guess that was the out. Take 41 right there. No big deal.
Oh, goodness me. David Inglis with Jeskai Storm picking up the victory against the Hall of Famer. So he will continue.